I notice it the moment I step through my parents' front door. Something's off. The air feels charged, like the stillness before a thunderstorm. Mom's smile stretches too wide as she takes my coat. Dad's handshake a touch too firm. My sister Autumn practically vibrates with excitement, her eyes darting between our parents with that conspiratorial gleam I've known since childhood. "Sierra, honey, so glad you made it." Mom guides me toward the dining room where Sunday dinner awaits, her hand pressing against my back with unusual insistence. The table looks perfect, of course. Mom's best china, the crystal glasses that only appear for special occasions, a centerpiece of fresh flowers. Whatever this is, they've planned it carefully. I take my usual seat across from Autumn, whose smile reminds me of when she was 8 and knew I was about to step on the whoopee cushion she'd hidden under my chair cushion. Dad carves the roast beef with practiced precision, while Mom distributes mashed potatoes, green beans, and those Parker House rolls I've loved since childhood. That's when I spot it. A manila folder tucked beside Dad's plate, its corner peeking out from under his napkin. My stomach tightens. "How's the clinic?" Mom asks, her voice artificially bright. "Still working those crazy hours?" "Business is good." I keep my answer simple, watching Dad's eyes flicker toward the folder. "We've increased our patient load by 20% this quarter." Autumn snorts softly. "All those patients, but such a tiny waiting room. Someone should really upgrade your office management." The pieces click together in my mind. A puzzle I wish I couldn't solve. Dad clears his throat, setting down his fork with a deliberate clink against fine china. "Sierra, we've been thinking about the future of your clinic." I freeze mid-bite, the food turning to sawdust in my mouth. Mom jumps in smoothly, as if they've rehearsed this. "Family businesses need family management, dear. Your father and I have been discussing how to keep healing hands in the family long term." "It's not a family business," I say carefully. "I built it myself." "With our support," Dad counters, reaching for the folder. "And now Autumn has an excellent proposal that will benefit everyone." My sister straightens in her chair, practically preening. "I've worked up a business plan to become your practice manager. I'd handle all the boring paperwork stuff while you focus on patients." She leans forward, eyes gleaming. "I'm only asking for a 25% profit share, which is really reasonable considering all the growth I'll bring." My heartbeat pounds in my ears. This isn't a casual Sunday dinner, it's an ambush. Memories flood back unbidden. Double shifts at the hospital cafeteria during physical therapy school, sending money home to help Autumn through her freshman year of college while I ate ramen in a one-room apartment with furniture rescued from curbsides. Midnight study sessions after 14-hour clinical rotations. The $187,000 in student loans that still drain my checking account each month. "I already have a clinic manager," I say, surprised by the steadiness in my voice. Mom waves her hand dismissively. "But Autumn is the real people person. Remember how she charmed Dr. Wilson at your clinic opening? He barely noticed you were there." I remember. Just like I remember Dad dismissing my academic honors at graduation. Book smarts don't build practices. Sierra while photographing Autumn in my cap and gown. I remember Autumn's temporary help at the front desk last summer that resulted in unauthorized discounts to her sorority sisters. The weeks I spent apologizing to patients after her scheduling mix-ups left some waiting hours and others turned away entirely. "May I see what you've prepared?" I ask, nodding toward the folder. Dad slides it across the table with a satisfied smile. "It's already been drawn up by my attorney. Just needs your signature." I can start tomorrow." Autumn claps her hands together. "I already have ideas for redecorating your office." I take a deliberate sip of water, then set the glass down precisely on its coaster. With slow, measured movements, I reach for my own briefcase, resting beside my chair. "Before we discuss this further," I say, "there's something you should see." In the weighted silence that follows, I unlock my briefcase with a click that echoes like a gunshot. My father's confident smile falters as I withdraw a leather portfolio, the expensive one I splurged on after landing the contract with Denver Sports Medicine, a silent reminder of successes achieved without their help. "What's this?" Dad's voice holds the faint tremor of a man unaccustomed to surprises. Mom glances nervously between her husband and Autumn, her fingers fidgeting with her napkin. Autumn's smile, so triumphant moments ago, begins to wilt around the edges as I carefully arrange my documents on the table, aligning them with the precision I bring to patient treatment plans. 3 weeks ago, I signed a management services agreement with Colorado Healthcare Partners. I tap the top page where their corporate logo sprawls across the letterhead. They're managing all administrative aspects of Healing Hands going forward. Dad reaches for the papers, his brow furrowed. You can't make decisions like this without consulting family. Actually, I can. I slide another document toward him. I've highlighted section 4.3 for your convenience. No family members may be employed in management positions without unanimous board approval. The board consists of myself and 2 partners from CHP. Askin, my aided by Delatine and by Briefhim. Autumn's face flushes crimson. You did this on purpose. I made a business decision. I maintain eye contact with my sister, refusing to look away first. One based on previous experience. From my portfolio, I extract a folder containing patient complaint forms, all meticulously organized by date. These are from last summer when you worked at the clinic. I don't need to open it, the thickness speaks volumes. 15 scheduling errors resulting in double-booked treatment rooms. 23 unauthorized discounts, including 8 to your sorority sisters. 31 billing code errors that nearly triggered an insurance audit. Mom reaches across the table, her fingers stopping just short of touching mine. Sierra, honey, everyone makes mistakes when they're learning. These weren't learning mistakes. I stand slowly, finding unexpected power in towering over my seated family. These were careless mistakes made by someone who thought rules didn't apply to her. I withdraw another document, this one created by my accountant. This itemizes the $42,000 in free treatments provided to this family over the past 3 years. Dad's rotator cuff rehabilitation, Mom's plantar fasciitis, Autumn's sports massages before her beach vacations. The stunned silence feels like vindication. Their expressions shift from entitled certainty to uncomfortable shock. While I covered your healthcare needs, I was eating ramen noodles to make my student loan payments. I worked double shifts at the hospital cafeteria to help fund Autumn's freshman year. When you said you couldn't afford both our educations simultaneously, I lock eyes with my father. I slept on treatment tables when I couldn't afford both rent and malpractice insurance. My phone buzzes with a text. I glance down to see my clinic manager's message. Did you tell them yet? The timing couldn't be better, a reminder that I'm not alone anymore. My staff witnessed Autumn's summer of chaos, staying late to fix her mistakes while she posted Instagram photos from rooftop happy hours. They know the truth behind the Bennett family dynamics. My mentor warned me years ago that family and business mix like oil and water, I say, remembering Dr. Winter's concerned expression when she caught me crying in the supply closet after Dad missed my clinic's grand opening. I should have listened sooner. I gather my documents with deliberate precision, sliding them back into my portfolio in the exact order they'll be needed if this conversation escalates further. The methodical movement calms me, just like when I organize treatment supplies before a difficult patient session. We can negotiate. Dad's voice has lost its authoritative edge, replaced by the tone he uses when a business deal starts slipping away. 20% instead of 25%, a trial period. I close my portfolio with a snap. My clinic isn't your piggy bank, it's my career. Mom's hand flies to her throat, a dramatic gesture she's perfected over years of family conflicts. I never thought you'd put business before family, she whispers. The statement hangs between us, revealing everything wrong with their perspective. In their minds, my success exists to benefit them. My clinic represents not my achievement but their opportunity. I'm not putting business before family. I reply, my voice steadier than I feel inside. I'm putting boundaries before exploitation. Autumn pushes back from the table, her chair scraping against the hardwood floor. You've always been so dramatic, Sierra. Acting like you did everything yourself when we've always supported you. Supported me? I raise an eyebrow. When exactly? Was it during my graduation when Dad was taking photos of you in my cap and gown? Or when Mom told Dr. Wilson I was just the medical person at my own clinic opening? The memories surface like air bubbles in water, quick, sharp, impossible to stop once they start rising. Remember my 12th birthday when I got a card while Autumn received a new bicycle? Or my high school valedictorian ceremony where no family members attended because Autumn had a cold? I zip my briefcase closed. Your support has always been conspicuously absent when it mattered. Dad stands now too, his height no longer intimidating as it was throughout my childhood. You've changed, Sierra. Success has made you cold. No. I meet his gaze without flinching. Success has made me visible, and you don't know what to do with a daughter you can't ignore. I lift my briefcase from the chair, surprised by how light it feels compared to the weight I've carried for years. For the first time since entering their house, I take a deep breath that doesn't hurt my chest. I'll see myself out. I turn toward the door, then pause. Oh, and starting next month, family treatments will be billed at standard rates. Our charity program is reserved for patients who can't afford care, not those who simply prefer not to pay. Behind me, I hear my mother's shocked intake of breath, my father's muttered curse, and Autumn's theatrical sob. But for once, their reactions don't pull me back into the familiar dance of appeasement. I step out into the evening air, where my phone buzzes with another message from my clinic manager. We're all here for you. And for the first time in my life, I truly believe it. That night at my apartment, memories flashbacked. My 12th birthday falls on a Tuesday in April, unremarkable except for the math test I aced, and the single card propped against my cereal bowl that morning. 2 weeks later, Autumn turns 10 and receives a gleaming teal bicycle with streamers on the handlebars and a wicker basket for collecting neighborhood treasures. I watch from our front porch as she circles the driveway, our parents clapping with each wobbly lap. "Sierra, take a picture of your sister?" Dad calls, tossing me his camera. This is a milestone. I angle the viewfinder to capture Autumn's beaming face, her hair catching sunlight as Dad steadies the bike seat. Mom waves a handkerchief like she's sending off royalty. "Remember when I got my first bike?" I ask later, helping Mom with dishes while birthday cake crumbs still dot the kitchen table. She pauses, sponge suspended. "You were a practical child, Sierra. You always wanted books instead." But I hadn't. I'd circled bikes in catalogs for 3 years running. High school graduation brings academic honors, valedictorian, science medal, full academic scholarship to Colorado State. The auditorium buzzes with proud parents clutching bouquets and cameras. Mine arrives 7 minutes after my speech, slipping into back row seats as I return to mine. Traffic was terrible. Mom whispers when they find me afterward, empty-handed. "But we're here for Autumn's dance recital tonight. You're coming, right?" The pattern repeats through college. My dean's list certificates arrive by mail at our family home, while I work double shifts at the hospital cafeteria. The envelopes remain sealed on the kitchen counter for weeks. When physical therapy school graduation finally arrives, I stand alone after the ceremony until Autumn waves from across the quad. "There you are." She grabs my mortarboard. "Dad wants pictures of me in this. You don't mind, right?" For 20 minutes, I watch my parents photograph my sister wearing my hard-earned cap, their backs to my honors cords and the diploma case clutched in my hands. "Book smarts don't build practices, Sierra," Dad says later, returning my cap without meeting my eyes. 4 years after graduation, I'm hunched over my laptop at midnight, the clinic dark except for my office light. Loan statements glare from the screen, $187,000 remaining, the monthly payments larger than my rent. Meanwhile, I've just transferred $1,200 to Autumn for her temporary housing crisis following her 4th job change in 2 years. My own apartment remains furnished with roadside rescues, a coffee table with uneven legs, a sofa that smells faintly of previous owners no matter how much I clean it. The sound of my stomach growling echoes in the empty clinic. The bank manager's voice still rings in my ears from that morning's appointment. "Without a cosigner or additional collateral, Miss Bennett, we simply can't approve this business expansion loan." I'd nodded politely, tucking the rejection letter beside the others in my bag. Not mentioning that my parents had refused to co-sign but had purchased Autumn a new car the previous month because she needs reliable transportation for interviews. The treatment table becomes my bed that night. I curl onto the paper-covered vinyl, wrapping myself in a patient blanket after 16 hours of back-to-back appointments followed by insurance paperwork. The cleaning crew finds me there at 5 a.m., still clutching spreadsheets. 6 months later, when Healing Hands Physical Therapy finally opens in its own space, not just a rented room in someone else's clinic, my parents stop by for 15 minutes between Autumn's bridal shower and their dinner reservation. "It's nice," Mom says, glancing at her watch, "like a real doctor's office." Dad peers at my framed credentials. "Just remember, it's always about the people, not the degrees." They leave before the small reception begins, missing the champagne toast from my 3-person staff and the ribbon-cutting photo for the local business journal. The summer Autumn decides to help out at the front desk becomes a professional nightmare. Her sorority sisters receive unauthorized discounts while regular patients find their appointments rescheduled or canceled entirely. Insurance forms pile up unprocessed until late night hours, when I discover them stuffed into desk drawers. They were so boring. Autumn explains when confronted. Besides, they're just old people with Medicare. They don't have anywhere important to be. After she leaves, I spend weeks making personal calls to every affected patient, rebuilding trust one apology at a time. The turning point comes unexpectedly during a meeting with Blue Shield's regional provider representative. The stern-faced woman across my desk has rejected our previous 3 claims submissions. Miss Bennett, your documentation simply doesn't meet our standards for... I slide a folder across the desk, interrupting her practiced rejection. These are revised protocols I developed, specifically addressing your guidelines. I've cross-referenced each treatment code with your latest manual. Her eyebrows rise as she flips through meticulously annotated pages. You did this yourself? Every night for 3 weeks. Her assessment is blunt. Most providers just argue or give up. 3 days later, the insurance company approves our entire claims backlog. Within months, physician referrals increase as word spreads about our exceptional documentation and outcomes. The first profitable month arrives after 2 grueling years. I stare at the accounting software late one night, verifying the numbers 3 times before allowing myself to believe them. No one is there to celebrate with me, but for once, the silence feels like power rather than abandonment. I realize something profound as I lock up that night. My invisibility has become my superpower. While my family focused on Autumn's charm and social connections, I built something substantial in the shadows. The skills I developed through years of self-reliance, persistence, precision, strategic thinking, now serve as the foundation for my growing business. Ellie Morgan, my clinic manager, proves this theory when she declines a hospital position, offering significantly more money to stay with Healing Hands. They don't value people like you do, she tells me, tearing up the offer letter. I've worked in healthcare for 30 years, Sierra. What you're building here is special. When Autumn's scheduling disasters create chaos, my staff stays late without complaint, ordering pizza and tackling the backlog together. We've got this. Carlos, my lead therapist, assures me as midnight approaches. You're sisters. Interesting, but we're a team. Every Friday morning, our staff meeting begins with each person sharing both challenges and victories from the week. Every voice matters. The cleaning staff included a stark contrast to family gatherings, where my input was routinely dismissed or interrupted. The call from Denver Rehabilitation Center's medical director comes on an ordinary Tuesday afternoon. We've been watching your outcomes data. To me, 2,000 people, she says without preamble. Our orthopedic department wants to discuss a specialized treatment partnership. That evening, we gather in the clinic after hours, not for emergency rescheduling but for celebration. 9 people now instead of the original 3, toasting with plastic cups and grocery store cake. To Sierra, Ellie calls out, who saw possibilities while everyone else saw limitations. In the quiet after everyone leaves, I gently lift my first business license from its frame, tracing the embossed seal with my fingertips. Tomorrow, I'll rehang it in the expanded reception area, a reminder that being overlooked sometimes allows you to build foundations no one expects to stand. 6 weeks after the confrontation, at work, my corner office offers a panoramic view of Denver's skyline, though I've positioned my desk to face the treatment floor instead. Through the glass wall, I watch Meredith guide Mrs. Hoffman through her post-stroke exercises. Meredith's patience mirrors what I strive for with every patient, something my family never understood about healing. The contrast between my modest office and our state-of-the-art treatment areas isn't accidental. While patients deserve cutting-edge equipment, I've learned to function perfectly well with a second-hand desk and simple chair. Every dollar saved is reinvested where it counts. I straighten the original Healing Hands therapy sign mounted on my wall, salvaged when we expanded last month. From 3 treatment rooms to 15. From me alone to a team of 15 therapists who share my vision of patient-first care, my phone vibrates for the 3rd time today. Mom again. I silence it without looking at the message. It will be like yesterday's, and the day before. Just checking in, honey, with a thinly veiled question about clinic operations, or subtle mention of Autumn's latest unemployment crisis. The calls increased after I refused their dinner invitations for 6 consecutive weeks. Mom cycles between guilt, we never see you anymore, and false business interest. Have you considered offering discounts to senior communities? Dad attempted to contact my accountant directly last week, thankfully warned by my advance call explaining the situation. Their most desperate move came yesterday, when Autumn appeared unannounced during our busiest afternoon, waving a folder of incredible marketing ideas that miraculously required her full-time employment to implement. Mark, my front desk manager, followed protocol exactly, offered her a seat in the waiting room, and called me immediately. I didn't interrupt my patient's session. The afternoon sun warms my face as I open my laptop, reading the email I've drafted, deleted, and rewritten 14 times. It's measured, precise, and absolutely necessary. To my family, as I have already told you, after careful consideration, I'm establishing professional boundaries regarding healing hands therapy. The clinic remains closed to family employment or management input. All treatment services will be billed at standard rates. Business discussions are limited to my management team. I remain open to rebuilding our personal relationship, separate from my professional life. Sierra. My finger hovers over send as my office door opens. Carol, my clinic manager, appears with 2 steaming mugs. "Thought you might need reinforcements," she says, placing a coffee beside my laptop. "I saw the social media post." I raise an eyebrow. Carol slides her phone across my desk. There's my mother's Facebook profile, featuring a photo from my clinic's opening day 3 years ago. Mom stands beside me, arm around my shoulder, a rare moment of apparent support I now recognize was performative. So proud of my daughter Sierra's vision with healing hands therapy. We've always believed in her healing touch. Proud mama, family business. The timestamp shows it was posted 20 minutes ago. The hashtag is interesting, Carol says carefully. Family business. The words taste bitter. I click send on my email. They've never paid $1 toward this clinic, never worked an hour here, never believed it would succeed until it did. Community's noticing the disconnect, Carol says. Dr. Reynolds mentioned it last week when he referred that complex shoulder case. I look up, surprised. Said he always sends patients here because you built something genuine, not handed down or gifted. Carol taps my original business license frame. Said he appreciates how you acknowledge your team instead of bragging about your background. The staff meeting last Friday returns to mind, where I credited our growth to the team's dedication rather than my own vision. I'd noticed Autumn's friend Kimberly in the waiting room during the meeting, phone suspiciously angled toward our gathering. Which reminds me, I say, pulling up another email. The scholarship fund is approved. Starting next semester, we'll support 2 physical therapy students with demonstrated financial need. Carol smiles. Your mother called that wasteful charity when she overheard us discussing it. Exactly why it matters. I stand, stretching tired muscles. Any news from the accountant about their latest inquiry? Your father tried charm, then intimidation. Eventually left when Denise mentioned potential harassment charges. Carol's expression softens. There's something else. She pulls a handwritten note from her pocket. Your mother stopped by during lunch. When I explained you were at the Children's Hospital clinic, she left this. The envelope bears my name in Mom's perfect cursive. Inside, tear-stained paper contains desperate pleas about family misunderstandings and missing my daughter. The final line requests a family meeting to heal old wounds at their house. Naturally, on their terms. My phone chimes with a text from Autumn. Miss you, big sis. Can we talk? Just us? Carol watches me process these latest maneuvers. Your father's letter arrived in yesterday's mail too. Very formal, suggesting family mediation with his attorney present. I laugh without humor. The tables have turned. Their friends are asking questions. Community members are noticing discrepancies between their claims and reality. Through the window, I watch 2 therapists I hired from disadvantaged backgrounds, guiding patients with the skill and compassion I'd fostered in our clinic culture. The afternoon sun illuminates our expanded treatment floor built from my vision, my labor, my persistence, despite years of family dismissal. What will you tell them? Carol asks. I place the note in my desk drawer, joining other manipulative family communications I've documented meticulously. When they're ready for a relationship that doesn't involve exploiting my success, I say, I'll listen. Until then, my priority is protecting what I've built. In the waiting room beyond my office, I notice a familiar face, one of Autumn's sorority sisters who received unauthorized discounts last year. Today, she waits patiently, insurance card in hand, respect in her expression where entitlement once lived. The facade is crumbling, Finally. 2 weeks later, the morning air carries the scent of fresh coffee and possibility as I arrive at Cornerstone Cafe 20 minutes early. My chosen battlefield-neutral territory, with just enough ambient noise for privacy without isolation. I select a corner table with clear sightlines to both entrances and settle into the chair facing the door. Old habits from years of watching for their approval. I arrange my leather portfolio precisely in front of me, its weight reassuring. Inside rests every text, email, and financial record documenting our entangled history. Evidence collected not with malice but with the same methodical care I apply to patient treatment plans. Can I get you something while you wait? The barista approaches with a genuine smile, notepad ready. Just black coffee, thank you. My voice sounds steadier than I feel. The ceramic mug arrives moments later, steam rising like the tension in my chest. Through the window, I spot them walking from the parking lot. Dad's shoulders square beneath his golf polo, Mom fidgeting with her pearl necklace, Autumn's confident stride betrayed by her nervous glances at our parents. They've coordinated their outfits in cream and tan tones, a united front. The bell above the door chimes as they enter. The moment they spot me, their expressions shift subtly. Dad's jaw tightens. Mom's smile freezes. Autumn's eyes narrow at the portfolio before me. Sierra, honey. Mom reaches to hug me, but I remain seated, forcing her to awkwardly pat my shoulder instead. This is cozy. We would have preferred dinner at home, Dad says, settling into the chair opposite mine. Family matters should be discussed privately. This isn't just a family matter. I tap my finger on the portfolio. This concerns my business. Autumn slides into the chair beside Dad, her perfume overwhelming the coffee aroma. We brought muffins from that bakery you like. She pushes a paper bag toward me that I don't touch. A waitress appears, takes their order, and disappears with practiced efficiency. The moment she's gone, Dad leans forward, hands clasped on the table. Blood is thicker than water, Sierra. His voice drops to that authoritative tone he used when I missed curfew at 17. Family stands together, especially in business. Mom reaches across to squeeze my wrist. We've always been proud of you, sweetie. Always. Your father and I tell everyone about our brilliant daughter, the doctor. Physical therapist, I correct automatically. Doctor of physical therapy, Autumn adds, with surprising accuracy before launching into her rehearsed speech. Speaking of which, I've been thinking about our last conversation, and I realize I came on too strong, so I've drafted a new proposal. She produces a sleek tablet from her purse. A consulting arrangement, instead of management. 3 days a week, better social media presence, corporate client outreach. I take a deliberate sip of coffee, letting the bitter warmth fortify me. Before we discuss any proposals, there's something you should know. The Hendersons asked me an interesting question at their anniversary party last weekend. The mention of our family friends causes all three to stiffen. They congratulated me on my family partnership and asked when you'd all joined my practice. I opened the portfolio, revealing a neatly organized collection of paper. They seemed surprised when I told them you weren't partners in my business. Dad's face flushes. We never said. I have screenshots of your Facebook posts mentioning our clinic and the family practice. I slide the printed pages toward him. And text messages from the Wilsons asking about the family business your mother mentioned at Bridge Club. Mom's face pales. Sierra, it's just expressions of pride. Is it? I withdraw another document. This is Dr. Reynolds' email asking why Dad contacted him about partnership opportunities for the clinic. The silence stretches between us, punctuated only by the hiss of the espresso machine and murmured conversations from nearby tables. You've been watching us. Autumn's voice carries a note of betrayal, as if I'm the one who violated trust. I've been paying attention. I meet her gaze steadily. The same attention I've given to building my practice while you were telling your sorority sisters they could get free treatments. Dad attempts to seize control of the conversation. We're getting sidetracked. We're here to discuss Autumn's role. Autumn will have no role in my clinic. The words come out with a calm certainty that surprises even me. Neither will you or Mom. Sierra. Mom's hand flies to her throat. After everything we've done for you. Everything you've done? I extract a spreadsheet from my portfolio. Here's an itemized list of the free treatments I've provided to this family over 3 years. Market value, $42,735. Here are the loans I gave Autumn during my first 2 years of practice when I could barely make rent. $16,450, still unpaid. Autumn's face contorts. You said those were gifts. I said we'd figure it out later. It's later. Dad's businessman mask slips for the first time. You can't possibly expect repayment after all you've what? I cut him off, voice level but firm. After you missed my doctoral hooding ceremony for Autumn's sorority fundraiser? After you told Dr. Wilson, I was playing at business until I found a husband? After you dismissed my clinic opening as just another job? I place my palms flat on the table, steadying myself. These are my terms for any future relationship. First, my business decisions are mine alone. No input, no suggestions, no contacts with my colleagues. Second, any treatments for family will be billed at standard rates. Third, no more describing yourselves as partners or owners in my business. Mom's artificial composure crumbles, tears welling in her eyes, genuine ones this time, not the performance drops she typically deploys. You can't mean this, she whispers. We're family. Family respects boundaries, I answer. Family celebrates achievements instead of trying to claim them. Dad's face darkens with frustration. This is absurd. We never thought you'd actually succeed on your own. We were trying to help secure your future. The truth slips out so easily, so naturally, that he doesn't even seem to realize what he's admitted. After all these years, all my work, all my sacrifices, they never believed in me. Autumn's carefully constructed mask falls completely. It's not fair, she hisses. You get everything. The respect, the fancy title, the business. What about me? I'm stuck in a cubicle while you play hero in your precious clinic. There it is, the raw envy beneath the manipulation, the resentment beneath the charm. I close my portfolio with a decisive snap and stand. I built everything I have while supporting this family emotionally and financially. I'm not playing at anything. And I'm done being invisible. Cack. I leave exact change for my coffee on the table and walk away. Behind me, I hear Mom's quiet sobs, Dad's harsh whisper to Autumn, the scraping of chairs. But I don't look back. For the first time in my life, I'm moving forward without checking if they approve. The weight of their expectations falls from my shoulders with each step, and I walk into the sunlight standing taller than when I arrived. I stand at the picture window of my expanded clinic, watching the afternoon light paint golden highlights across the Denver skyline. 1 year has passed since that fateful Sunday dinner, and the view before me mirrors the transformation within. Dr. Bennett, your 3 o'clock is ready. Melissa, my lead therapist, appears at my side, clipboard in hand. It's Mrs. Abernathy's final session. Perfect timing. I smile, genuine warmth spreading through my chest. The waiting room bustles with activity, a stark contrast to the cramped space where I began. Now, patients sit in comfortable chairs beneath framed community service awards that have joined my original business license on the wall. The waiting list for new patients stretches 2 months out, a testament to the reputation we've built. Mrs. Abernathy, an elderly woman with bright eyes and a spine curved from decades of hard work, beams as I enter the treatment room. There she is. She announces to no one in particular. The miracle worker herself. I laugh, setting her chart aside. The miracle was your dedication to the home exercises. Nonsense. She waves a weathered hand. My grandson says you're the best in Denver. And that boy researches everything. As I guide Mrs. Abernathy through her final stretches, I catch my reflection in the treatment room mirror. The tight shoulders and defensive posture that once characterized my stance have softened. I stand taller now, grounded in my worth. Later, I welcome 3 new graduates to my mentorship program. They gather around the conference table, eyes bright with the same determination that once fueled my midnight study sessions. The most important thing I can teach you isn't a technique, I tell them, perching on the edge of the table. It's knowing your value. In this profession, you'll give constantly. Make sure what you're giving is respected. After they leave, I review the latest figures for our pro bono program serving underserved patients. The initiative now comprises 15% of our practice, a percentage that would have terrified me last year but now fills me with purpose. My phone buzzes with a text from Leah, my closest friend and leader of our professional women's support group. Ready for tonight? Your turn to share. A flutter of nervousness dances through my stomach. Tonight marks the first time I'll publicly share my full journey, family struggles included. The thought both terrifies and liberates me. Before leaving, I check my personal email. Mom has sent photos of her volunteer work at the community garden, her third message this week, that doesn't demand anything from me. Small steps, but genuine ones. Dad's name remains absent from the sender list. Some wounds need more time than others. A separate email contains a job announcement from Autumn, her first position at a corporate office with no connection to my clinic. The message lacks her usual excessive exclamation points, a subtle sign of her growing independence. The evening sun casts long shadows as I arrive at Leah's home for our monthly dinner. Unlike my parents' dining room with its oppressive formality, this space hums with authentic conversation. My chosen family of colleagues and friends pass dishes family style, their laughter a healing balm. To Sierra, Melissa raises her glass. Who taught us all that standing your ground isn't selfish, it's necessary? As applause ripples around the table, I think of the scholarship I've established for PT students from challenging backgrounds, the boundary-setting workshop I'll lead next month, and tomorrow's launch of our specialized vestibular rehabilitation program. When dinner concludes, I step onto Leah's back porch. The mountains rise majestically against the horizon, steadfast and immovable, much like the boundaries I've learned to maintain. You look peaceful, Leah says, joining me. I am. I breathe deeply. I finally understand that I can heal my patients without sacrificing myself in the process. Tomorrow, I'll treat an elderly man with the same care I once lavished on family members who took without gratitude. The difference is, he'll look me in the eye and say thank you, and I'll know I've been seen. I'm Sierra Bennett. I whisper to the mountains, and I heal people who value the healing.